Previously on The Dog Seduction.
At the end of the day, Games of Thrones pretty popular as well. So
Hey, Game of Thrones, man. Don't diss Game of Thrones. You arsehole. I will go ultra Londoner on you right now. I will come and give you a beat down.
Oh, I'm well scared.
I will fly on my dragon over to you and slash you up. I will burn you to the ground.
Yeah, and that's the kind of ridiculous plot lines you get in Games of Thrones. What I will say is it's not as shite as Supernatural.
We're not friends anymore. I don't want to be friends with you. Why do you say such hurtful things?
The episode I watched was just weird.
Did you just watch a random episode? You don't do that. You watch from the beginning to the end, and then you start from the beginning again. And then you watch the Battle of the Bastards about 50 times because it makes your day.
That's your go-to thing, watching a bloody battle. That's like your light-hearted thing.
Welcome to the Dork Seduction Podcast, where we talk about stuff.
So, Matt, why don't you like Game of Thrones?
For a start, it's ridiculous.
How's it ridiculous?
Like, the one episode I watched, there was a flash of green light or something, and a load of people just died.
Oh my God, that was in like season 2. So you watched a random episode at the end of season 2?
Yes.
Of course you're not going to understand it.
I didn't choose to. I was forced to might be a bit strong, but it was not something I did of my own accord.
You could have got up and left.
I wish I had done.
I bet you, if you actually sat down and watched a game of Game of Thrones. Oh, also, I have a bone to pick with you. While editing the last episode, I realised you don't know what the show is called.
Oh, was I saying Games of Thrones?
Yeah, you were saying Games of Throne.
Oh,
you put the S on game. And I'm just like, why did he keep saying it wrong? And why was I so angry that I didn't realise at the time?
I'm just going to keep calling it that to annoy you, I think.
Ah, you twat face.
Yeah, I hate this Games of Thrones.
I just genuinely don't understand why. It is everything that people could love in a show. Shows, usually after a few years, they decline in viewership. Game of Thrones just keeps rising. People love it.
Personally, I found it a little boring as well.
How the hell could you find Game of Thrones boring?
To be honest, I don't like those kind of things in general.
What kind of things do you like?
I like comedies.
Like what comedies? Like The Big Bang Theory or shit like that?
No way. I don't like Big Bang Theory. I'm like more like British comedies, or maybe like The Office and Parks and Recreation, but not Big Bang Theory.
I haven't watched The Office as an adult. And it aired when I was a kid, and I was never really into it when I was a kid. So I probably would like it, it's just I haven't rewatched it.
Yeah.
And even then I watched bits and pieces of it. I didn't really watch it all the way through when I was a kid.
At first I was a bit judgmental about it because, well, in general, I didn't like American comedies back then, so...
Oh, do you mean the American one?
Yeah, I was talking about the American version of it.
I thought you meant the British one.
Nah.
Because you started by saying, I like more British comedies, like The Office.
Well, never mind. So yeah, I was talking about the American Office, so...
Oh yeah, I've seen the odd episode of the American Office, and I think that's decent.
Yeah, because like that and Parks and Recreation, because I think they're done by one of the same writer, they're quite similar.
Yeah, I think the same people do Brooklyn Nine-Nine as well.
Yeah, I keep meaning to watch that.
It is actually really good.
Yeah. I quite like Andy Samberg. He can come across a bit annoying sometimes, but...
Yeah, but in this he isn't playing... like an over-the-top character.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's funny, but he's just playing a police officer. It's not like SNL where you have to do like a wild skit.
Yeah. I think also that slightly over-the-top bit's a bit of his shtick, really, isn't it?
Yeah, but Brooklyn Nine-Nine taught me he could do understated. He could act.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's a comedy show, but there are bits where it's like heartwarming.
Yeah. I know Bill Hader's in a couple of episodes as well.
I think he was only in like one episode, but he was amazing.
Yeah.
It really was amazing.
I do have to get around to watching that one at some point.
Yeah, it's really good. In general, I'm not the type of comedy person. I don't mind it, but there's nothing to keep me coming back next week. So I will watch it on like the off season when I have nothing to do for a couple of weeks, and I'll just binge watch that. And then I won't touch it for another several years, maybe. But it's not the type of show that I can watch every single, well, I can physically watch it. It's just I don't have the time to watch, and it doesn't land in my schedule. Whereas like a drama or an ongoing series, there's an overall storyline that means I have to keep coming back.
Yeah. I have to agree, like, particularly like the American, like, comedy shows, they're quite long as well, so you don't really kind of want to watch them too often, because they're
exactly.
It takes a while to get through them.
That, and it gets really, really stale. How many times can you say the same joke? I mean specifically American ones. Because they go on for like 20 years, ridiculously long.
Yeah.
Maybe not 20 years, but ridiculously long. Whereas like a British show, they have shorter seasons first of all. So it's like, 6 to 12 episodes maximum.
Yeah.
12 episodes per season. And they only last like 2, maybe 3 seasons.
Mm.
And that's because of the creators. And they want to end it because they're like, yeah, we don't want it to go stale. Whereas, like, the network executives in America, they just want to keep churning it out to earn the money. They don't care about the quality.
Yeah. It's a bit like The Office. I mean, that really should have probably ended after Steve Carell left.
Oh, yeah, that went on for, like, 9 seasons?
Yeah, you just think, yeah, there's lots of characters in there, but you've lost, like, the centre point of it, really.
Like, could you have Office without David Brent?
No, I wouldn't have thought so.
Yeah.
I like British sitcoms for that, though. Most of them end, like, after the 3rd series.
Yeah. Like, 40 Towers, like, 12 episodes, I believe. I think it's 12, isn't it?
Yeah, and all of them, like, masterpieces, basically.
Exactly, so. Right? And that you can rewatch and rewatch and rewatch, but how many times can you rewatch? Actually, I say that. I've watched, like, every episode of Friends, like, 1 million times. So that I've already invalidated myself. But, yeah. I mean, Friends, like, sort of broke the mold, I guess, because it started 20 years ago, and it actually set off that trend of, like, Friends and a sitcom surrounding them, around apartments and stuff, rather than something specific.
Yeah.
I don't know, have a specific central arc. And that kicked it off, and they've got so many bad iterations since. Like The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
But Big Bang Theory can't even touch on Friends' quality.
I think if you find something that you really like, then I suppose you probably will end up watching that a lot. I think the good thing about comedy sometimes is it's a good thing to have on, like, in the background. So you're not too involved in it.
That's exactly it. Whenever I'm just, like, chilling, I don't really want to watch anything. But I always need something on. Like, you've probably heard when you're coming and going, I have How I Met Your Mother on in the background.
Yeah.
Yesterday, it was Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I always put something on in the background while I'm doing something. And that thing is comedy.
Yeah. The only problem I have is The Office. You kind of get quite involved in that. So that's not what I choose to probably watch as my background kind of thing.
Not like first run, though. These shows I've already watched many times before.
Yeah.
So I don't need to pay any attention.
Yeah,
First run in a comedy show, I do pay attention to.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm, like, looking at my phone and stuff, but it doesn't matter that much. But I usually do sit down and watch it.
Yeah.
And, like, I watched a new one recently called, it's called The Good Place.
Good Place. Who's in that?
Has Kristen Bell in it, Ted Danson. That really, 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 really annoying British television presenter. And she was a terrible presenter. It turns out she's an even worse actress.
Who's that?
Jamila Jamil. She was on all that T4 and all that stuff. Maybe not T4, but those kinds of shows.
Yeah, I think I vaguely remember.
Yeah, she was, like, if they could kill her off, it would be great, but it's hard to kill her off when it's set in the afterlife.
Yeah.
So she's already dead.
How do these people get these roles?
I really don't know. Like, I heard that she had gotten a show a while ago, because I think Ashley told me. And I didn't pay attention, because I was like, I don't give a shit who she is. And then, like, it was the off-season of American TV shows, so it was the summer season. And I love Kristen Bell. You probably know. I love her. She's amazing. Sure, I don't really like her films because they're really, really bad, but she's like Veronica Mars, man.
Yeah.
Like, she's got my love eternally. And at least I tried to watch those films that she was in. So I decided to watch it because there's only 13 episodes, which is a good number.
Yeah.
And I figured I can get through it within a day because it's only 20 minutes. So it's basically set. I don't want to spoil it. So I'm just going to try and think back to what the first episode is. Kristen Bell's character has died. Ooh. And she was a terrible person in life, so she should have gone to hell, but she ends up in heaven. And because she's in heaven, the dynamics change, and things in heaven are kind of falling apart.
Ooh, that does sound quite interesting.
Yeah, And there's a twist.
What's that?
Well, I can't tell you that. I mean, you have to watch the show.
Yeah. That does sound quite interesting, actually.
I mean, I've got it, so I can give it to you at some point.
Yeah. What's the good? Because I know Kristen Bell through Craig Ferguson's show.
Yeah, I know. She's amazing. Her and Craig are, like, amazing. That's the main reason I got really upset when Craig Ferguson left.
Yeah.
Because we can't have that dynamic anymore.
Yeah. I do miss him sometimes. I mean, particularly when you got James Corden.
Exactly.
Him.
And like Craig Ferguson just fucking sat there. There was like no production values to that show. He didn't spend any money other than, you know, Jeff and stuff. There's bit after bit after bit. They keep pouring money into it.
Yeah.
They keep throwing money, good after bad. And it's still not in the same level as Craig Ferguson.
Yeah. I love that there's one episode where they got Larry King to do the voice of Jeff the Robot. And, it's amazing. That one.
Jeff the Robot is, I'd say he's TV's best sidekick.
Yeah.
I want a Jeff the Robot.
Yeah.
Like, even the, like, at the end, smell my finger. That, they did nothing for like 30 seconds to a minute. Yet that was funnier than James Corden.
Yeah. Or do you want to play his mouth organ or something like that?
Yeah.
That's the other thing they do.
It's either drink from the snake mug, mouth organ, or smell my finger.
I know.
I miss Craig Ferguson.
They got to get him back somehow.
They're not going to. Because actually, James Corden has actually done well in ratings, hasn't he? He's gotten the youth to watch because he keeps doing bits and kissing the asses of celebrities.
Yeah, he asks all like the obvious questions as well.
And it doesn't feel natural. It's so rehearsed. He tries to have Jimmy Fallon type skits, plus Graham Norton type couch antics. But the thing is with Graham Norton, it just seems like you're going around to your uncles and having a chat and a joke and a laugh. Whereas James Corden can't do that. He doesn't have that type of personality. He always has to be the star. Whereas Graham Norton, he just throws things out there and he lets his guests talk.
I saw him interview like the cast of like The West Wing or a couple members. He's just going on about how big a fan he was. Well, we're not really interested in you. We're interested in them. And like, it just asked all like the obvious questions you'd ask someone from The West Wing. You know, can't you think of like anything original to say? You know?
Yeah, or actually get your researchers to do some work on them.
Yeah,
that's what they pay researchers for, right? Or is it just to source, I don't know, ball pits that people can jump in, or you know, Tinder profiles?
Yeah. I can't understand how chat shows keep on going, to be honest, sometimes.
I don't understand how America have so many.
Yeah.
Because they have one on, like, every channel. No, they have more than one on, like, every channel. And they do it, like, every night.
Yeah.
Whereas Britain, you have Jonathan Ross on a Saturday, you've got Graham Norton on a Friday. You used to have Alan Carr on a Friday. But that finished a couple of years ago now.
Yeah.
And that's it now, pretty much, for like an evening late night chat show.
That's all you need, really, to be honest.
Yeah. But then again, I guess Britain is smaller. Whereas America, it's the size of Europe. So you could have loads of different types of people on from loads of different areas. But how many chat shows do we need?
Yeah. They've got other ones after James Corden as well, I think.
Yeah, they do. Why don't they just combine it? Like, you know, they had T4 in the morning. Well, not in the mornings, like the whole of Saturday.
Yeah.
They'd sit around for like hours, and in between TV shows, they would interview people. Why not just have like a 6-hour-long chat show if you're going to do it anyway, rather than paying all these different hosts?
Yeah.
Like, have a 6-hour-long chat show where you get all the guests to play Dungeons and Dragons or something.
Yeah.
Because that lasts hours, sometimes days, sometimes months.
Yeah. I think that'd be a good idea, actually.
Yeah, maybe we should do it if we're ever successful.
If we ever get the chat show that we really want.
I don't really want a chat show. I don't think we'd do well in a chat show.
Oh, God.
Actually, to be fair, I do quite like it when other people can talk instead. Yeah. That's why some episodes, there's just like a 10-minute monologue from you, and then I'll just say, yeah, and let you carry on. That's more like laziness.
Oh, my famous 10-minute monologues.
Actually, no, I probably could do the chat show thing. I can steer. Like, I steer you sometimes and you don't even know it. So, actually, maybe I could do this chat show thing.
Maybe.
I mean, you probably couldn't, but I could.
How do you know I wouldn't be able to do it?
That involves talking to people, Matt. That isn't me. That aren't me. I think that sounds better.
I can talk to loads of people. Particularly if it's a famous person, then you've got loads of things you could ask them.
Yeah, but Matt, you're not allowed to fanboy.
Well, I mean, to be honest, you can suck up to them. They like that kind of thing.
Well, I wouldn't want a fanboy. I'd like to be impartial. And you can't be a dick to them if you don't like them.
You can. A couple of them get away with it.
I have learned how to not be a dick to people even if I don't like them.
David Letterman was a dick to quite a few people. And he got away with it. People loved him, so...
Like Donald Trump.
Oh, I love that bit with the ties. That's amazing.
Oh, so do I. Yeah, we cut it into an episode.
Oh, yeah, we did, didn't we? The Donald Trump episode.
Yeah, that was years ago. That's the reason that Donald Trump got so angry. First of all, he's repealing everything Barack Obama did. Then he's going to try and get SoundCloud and iTunes to reject us.
We're fake news.
Because he's against free speech.
Yeah.
Even though it's in the Constitution.
We just saw him as innocent back then, didn't we, really?
What? You and...
yeah, me.
You
well,
and
you
Chris
did.
were just, like, ripping the shit out of him.
Yeah, you loved him back then, whereas, you know...
No, I didn't.
me
I was
and
playing
Chris.
devil's advocate. Not even I can really say anything nice about him. I was just like, well, he's not all that bad. I mean, he does business and stuff. And then you were like, he's been bankrupt like 10 times. I was like, okay, that's fine. I'm just going to shut up now. That's all I could think of to say about him. That wasn't terrible.
Mm.
And even that wasn't a good point.
I don't know. Anyway.
We were ragging on Donald Trump before it was cool.
Yeah, we've been there ages ago.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, Weld. We're sorry you had to do that.
Yeah.
You've been pushed too far.
To be fair, we weren't to know he was going to become president.
We weren't to know he'd be that pissed off at us.
Yeah. He's got such a thin skin.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he had heard it, because you know he definitely sits at home Googling himself and watching every video around related to him. You know he does.
Oh, I can't believe it. As a businessman, you spend all that time on Twitter, like, for God's sake, do some business or something like that instead.
Yeah, I know, right? But then again, I never really go on his Twitter page because I don't want him to get the satisfaction of me going onto his Twitter page. I don't want to be an extra click on his Twitter page.
Yeah.
I mean, I still see some of the dumb shit he posts because it's reported on.
Yeah.
And retweeted by people I do follow with snide comments from people I do follow, which I find funny, and then I retweet those.
Yeah.
Thank you, Donald Trump, for giving us all a laugh.
Yeah.
You're an international joke.
Well, to be fair, he's giving us material, so we should be grateful.
That's true, but I feel like we've already wasted enough of our airtime on him, so
yeah,
let's keep the conversation moving.
Let's get back onto TV shows and stuff like that.
Yeah, what the fuck? Just watch Game of Thrones, you dick shit.
Nah.
I don't know how you could be a dick shit, but you are.
I don't know. I found it a bit ridiculous, to be honest.
I think you need to sit down and watch the first episode.
I don't know. I'm still not sure I'd take to it.
I would say I'd buy you the first episode as a Christmas or a birthday gift, but that doesn't work, does it? You haven't watched Rectify yet.
Not yet.
You twatface. I've been looking for someone to talk to about Rectify for years because no one's watched it.
Well,
literally, like, no one.
What you should do is you should kidnap someone and force them to watch it and then talk to them about it. Problem solved.
I'd probably be the nicest kidnapper.
Yeah.
As far as, like, stuff that happens to people that get kidnapped, that's actually not that bad.
If you force someone to watch Games of Thrones, as I like to call it,
I'm gonna punch
then that'd be torture, I think. That would.
They would love Game of Thrones. They would forgive me if I let them into the magnificent world of Game of Thrones.
I don't know. They think it's boring.
Matt, I guarantee if you watched Game of Thrones, you would love it. Because everybody loves Game of Thrones. I didn't watch Game of Thrones when it first started. I was one of the people that got into it later. And, like, before I knew it, I was just salivating and begging for the next season. I love Game of Thrones, and everybody loves Game of Thrones. People at work love Game of Thrones.
Maybe. I'm not convinced.
You don't watch The Walking Dead either.
Yes, zombies, you know.
What life do you lead?
How many series is that on now?
I think it's 7.
Yeah, see, how much can you do with, like, zombies? It's not an awful lot.
It's not about the zombies, it's about the survivors.
How long can they keep on going surviving?
Well...
Surely you've got to run out of ways in which they survive.
Well, okay, let's just say loads of people die, and then people come in, and they die, and then people come in, and they die. And they move around the whole country. So there's a lot of life in it.
That does sound fascinating.
And to be honest, like, Walking Dead, I don't even think it's about the zombies now. It's like human versus human, just in a different type of world. I think you would like Walking Dead.
Maybe.
Because it's not even about... I forget it's about zombies some of the time, because you don't see them all episode.
Yeah.
1 or 2 episodes a season, or half season, you get a horde of zombies, but the rest of it's just humans.
Ah, maybe. You know, I don't really like seeing people die, so, you know, shut up.
That's why I'm surprised you don't watch Game of Thrones and The Walking Dead, because, like, everyone dies. I've learned not to get attached to people now, because everyone dies.
Yeah.
You know, they say animals teach kids about mortality.
Yeah.
Nah, they just need to watch Game of Thrones and The Walking Dead. I really think that'll do it.
Yeah.
And then they also get some quality drama in their lives.
To be fair, from Games of Thrones, you've probably learned about sex as well. So. And incest.
It's just standard sex, really.
Which I suppose they have to know about at some point.
I mean, it's not like you're watching porn. You don't get close-ups and stuff. Yeah, there's humping. But it's not that bad. Everyone keeps going on about the sex on Game of Thrones. I don't actually think it's that sex. There's hardly any sex in it now.
Yeah.
Like, the last season, there was, like, one sex scene. Actually, no, there was two, but they were very brief.
Mm.
And if you're thinking 2 sex scenes and each episode's, like, 60 minutes long.
Yeah.
And 2 sex scenes that take a minute each. So it's really not that much.
Yeah. I think that's all they used to do in the old days. Just hump each other. When is it meant to be set, this
isn't a historical fiction, Matt. Did you think it was about history?
I didn't think it was an actual, like, from actual history, but I was wondering whether it had, like, a time period that it was setting.
It's not set in this world.
Yeah.
It's a different world.
That tends to turn me off quite quickly.
I mean, you do see history because you've got all the monarchy and stuff, and the monarchy rule, and there's wars and stuff, and civil wars.
I don't know. I don't tend to like those kind of things. Even though I like history, I don't like historical dramas all that much. So
it's not really historical drama. What fucking historical dramas have dragons?
Yeah, but you know my point. It's a bit like a historical drama in some senses.
How do you not like historical dramas?
I just don't like too many of them. They always speak really quietly. They always assume that everyone spoke so quietly back then, and they're really like cliche.
What shows are you referencing?
I can't remember. I think I watched Wolf Hall once.
Oh, I've got that, but I've still not watched it.
They speak so bloody quietly. I don't know. It's something about BBC historical dramas. They tend to be naff.
People seem to really like Wolf Hall, though.
I didn't take to it, which is weird because I'm quite a big fan of history, but I don't like the dramas all that much.
So when you say historical drama, you just mean Wolf Hall?
Well, I've watched quite a few historical dramas, but I don't tend to like them.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. I think they go for a lot of, like,
the upper class.
Yeah, but also the history of it. It's not that true to how it was as well. So
I understand what you mean about historical pieces, but me specifically, the ones I wouldn't say dislike, but I think they're overdone, is the upper class costume drama. Because that is what the BBC specialise in, it seems. Yeah. And I've had so much of it. Too much of it in my lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are good ones. Like in the 80s, there was Room with a View. That's quite good.
I'm not saying they're bad. I just think there's too many.
Yeah, I've never liked Downton Abbey.
I can't bring myself to watch it.
It's just, what I hate about a lot of dramas as well, they're so obvious sometimes as well. There's no subtlety to the acting and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to do, like, a big costume drama, I'd rather it not be on the upper class. Like, why don't you just do it about the servants or something? Or the stable boys, or someone interesting that has more struggles.
The problem is that it's the upper classes who mainly wore the costumes, so
yeah,
that's why a lot of costume dramas are about the upper class.
Oh, I'm so sick of it. Like, we already know.
Then there does need to be more like about ordinary people from that time period.
I say my limit now is probably, World War era. That's, like, my cut-off point. I don't really want to watch anything that's set before then other than, like, Ripper Street or something.
I don't think we need too many more war bloody dramas. We have enough of them.
I meant era. I don't mean war drama. I said the era.
I know, but there's so many from that period. I don't think you need any more. I'd cut it off before then.
I completely agree with you. I think there's too many of World War. Like, I think we've spoken about it before. There's so many different wars going on around the world, even today. Why don't we learn more about those? Why don't we have dramas about those rather than the same fucking... Why do we need to know about the Nazis' wars? We don't. We've already learned everything we need to know. I know it was fucked up. It was genocide. I really don't need to know anything else because I've seen it over and over again. I've done it in history over and over again.
Also, do we need a million, like, films about Churchill?
God, no. political figures, really. You're right, it is the same ones over and over again. It's not even like the unknown political figures, the ones that were like Prime Minister for like a year. I don't know how many of them there were Prime Minister just for a year, but there must have been some short-term ones.
Yeah, there's quite a few short ones there, so...
Yeah, how about we do a drama on those, because we don't know fuck all about them.
Also, you don't see actually too many about Neville Chamberlain, who was the guy that was Prime Minister when war was declared. Why isn't there more about him?
Yeah, he must have struggled. But no, it's all about Churchill.
Yeah.
You know what? If there is ever a drama about Tony Blair, I'm going to pick it.
There's been a couple, actually, hasn't there? That'd be quite a lot of material on that one, I think.
Oh, you say, I do agree World War II is done, but recently, I say recently, I think it was like 3 years ago now. That's how fast time has gone by. 3 years ago is recently for me. The Eichmann Show. You know that one with Martin Freeman? Yeah, where they got Adolf Eichmann, it's a dramatisation of getting Adolf Eichmann's trial broadcast like all around the world.
Yeah.
I like that. That was really good. Because it wasn't just about what his crimes, it's about the technology and bringing journalism to life and all that stuff.
Yeah. I think that sounds quite interesting.
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, I think that's all I've got to say on historical dramas, though.
What about contemporary? We haven't really spoke about Sherlock that much. But we both loved it when it first started, yeah?
I liked, certainly the first series, definitely, and most of the second series.
But it has really got on stale, hasn't it? Like, I think they keep trying to outdo themselves.
It's become silly now, and the plots are, like, so convoluted, and, like, I think the one that did it for me was... the one with Toby Jones in.
Oh, yeah.
That could have been a really interesting episode.
Yeah, I was looking forward to Toby Jones being on Sherlock. And then that happened.
Yeah, it just turned out to be a massive disappointment in the end. They caught him so easily. And he's this guy who's been getting away with it for ages. And he's just suddenly caught like that. I just thought, yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm a self-professed Benedict Cumberbatch fan.
Yeah.
I love Sherlock, but my turning point was even before that. It was with Mary Mawson.
Oh, God, she was
when
annoying.
they brought her on. And then she ended up being like a masterclass assassin.
Yeah.
And like the bit with the shooting of Sherlock, she shot so he would survive and he would live to like explain this and all that stuff. Yet he almost died. So no, I just think that's convenient writing. That's when it started to get really convoluted. Like season 1 and 2, and like I'd say the beginning of season 3 were decent.
Yeah.
Like even the second episode, the wedding episode, I didn't mind. It's that third episode of season 3. And I was like, what the fuck is going on here? And then you had the last episode of the season 4 with the sister. And I'm just like, seriously? What?
Yeah.
They're just trying to make twists where you don't need twists. Good writing doesn't always have to involve twists.
Yeah.
It's about the journey, not the destination.
For me, the breaking point was that Toby Jones one. The first one I really started to go off, it was the blackmailer one. I can't remember what it's called now. But he shoots the guy at the end. And I just thought, that's not what Sherlock Holmes would have done, I don't think, personally.
Oh, yeah.
He's meant to solve things with his intelligence. He doesn't go around shooting people. And I just felt that was the point where I started to think this is getting a bit silly now. It's getting a bit too far from the source, in a way.
Exactly. It's not like I was studious about, the writings of Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
But I do want it to be on, like, the same level. I want it to be grounded in reality, in Sherlock's reality.
What I like about it, in a way, is the fact that it's kind of a modern twist on it. So I like some of the modern elements of it, but I think once you start getting too far away from the source material, you start to ruin it a little bit, I think. And what I love about, like the first episode, I really love. That's one of my favourite episodes. And it's just him using his intelligence to solve the case.
Yeah.
I think it's Stephen Moffat that ruins it, mostly.
It is. Mark Gatiss kind of grounds him, but I think it feels like he's taken a step back.
Yeah.
And yeah, Stephen Moffat, he's always had an air of arrogance about him anyway. And people loving off Sherlock just somehow makes it worse.
Yeah. I think he's done the same with Doctor Who as well. I'm not a huge Doctor Who fan. I watched the ones with Tom Baker in, and I really loved them when I was a kid. And I watched a few of like the more modern ones with David Tennant, but the last couple of times I watched any Doctor Who episodes, the same old rubbish. It's got a bit naff now. I think a lot of that's Stephen Moffat as well.
Yeah, I think he just needs a rest or to hand the reins over to someone else. He quit Doctor Who, didn't he?
Yeah.
Which I guess it's understandable because he doesn't own Doctor Who. He didn't create Doctor Who. It's the BBC's property.
Yeah.
So he stepped down. I kind of wish he would do that with Sherlock. Or maybe he could be a showrunner, but he doesn't write the episodes. Just let someone else do it. Breathe new life into it, because he's not doing the show any favours.
Yeah. Do you think there's a way back for it then, at all?
I'm glad that both Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman and now Andrew Scott, because Andrew Scott is doing amazingly well, they're all doing great, because that means they don't have time for it. So at the very least, I'm pretty certain that there's going to be more, because it's a cash cow and they've signed on for 5 seasons. But because they're so successful, they're doing so well now, it's going to be at least a little while before scripts are even written. So at least we've got that time to maybe they could, regroup.
Yeah.
But I don't know how.
Yeah.
They brought in a brother and then they brought in a sister, extra brothers and sisters. So Redbeard wasn't a dog, it was a brother.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I don't know how to come back from it. Unless they completely, do a reboot or something.
Yeah.
But fans won't like it. Die-hard fans won't like it.
It's got too big for its boots, I think. It's got too big an audience.
Why can't they just stay simple? Kenneth Branagh, he's been famous for as long as I could remember. But Wallander always stayed the same.
Yeah.
I don't mean it was boring and dull and did the same thing happen, but it was grounded in that world's reality.
Yeah.
It didn't try to go above itself because it knew it was a Swedish, well, no, it wasn't really Swedish, but it was a detective drama. That's all it is.
Yeah. I'm going to have to admit, another thing I started to annoy me about Sherlock a little bit is actually Martin Freeman.
He does have the same sort of reactions to everything.
I think that's a bit overdone. So I think they got the wind of the fact the fans like that kind of stuff, and so they just overdo it. Yeah, that gets a bit annoying sometimes.
That's the thing with Sherlock. I think they listen to their fans too much.
Yeah.
And probably read their fans' fan fiction, it feels like sometimes.
Yeah.
But speaking of Andrew Scott, me and Lana saw him in Hamlet this weekend.
Did you? Ooh.
He was amazing.
Was he?
Yeah, the show, the production, because it's Robert Icke that directed it, yeah? The production itself, it was set in the modern day times, and it was amazing. It flew cohesively, and you kind of got it.
Yeah.
And you don't need to be a Shakespearean person or actually know anything about Shakespeare to keep up. You could actually tell what was going on. Because I only really did English till A-level. I didn't really study Hamlet that much. I mean, I've read bits and pieces of it. I've watched adaptations of it, but I'm not exactly studious. I mean, I know a bit, but I'm not exactly... It's not like that's my favourite pastime is to go through plays and write notes about them and try and understand them. But I got it. Lana got it. It seemed like the whole audience loved it. And Andrew Scott was phenomenal. He was amazing. He was amazing. The way he just switched, it was brilliant.
Yeah. Is Tom Hiddleston in that as well?
No, that's a different production that's going on. That we're not going to see. I mean, I entered myself into a ballot, which I knew even if I won it, I wouldn't be able to afford to go. But I thought, I might as well just throw my hat in the race.
Yeah.
I've heard mixed things, but because critics didn't get tickets, no one got tickets. It was all by ballot.
Was it?
So it could be anyone. So I don't know who the reactions I'm hearing are from. They're just from random people.
No, but I do like, what's he called again? Scott?
Andrew Scott.
Andrew Scott, yeah.
He is amazing in everything, pretty much.
Yeah. He's definitely a good actor. We'll probably see him in a lot more things soon, maybe.
He has actually done quite a lot lately in the last few years, film-wise and stuff.
Yeah.
But my only thing is, Britain don't really give a shit about if an actor is gay, right? America seems to. It's still a thing. So I don't know how far he'll get, and especially seems like he's already 40 anyway. And
really?
I don't think he's going to be... Yeah, exactly. I know he looks really good for it. So I think he'll do successful Britain-wise, and he might get a few roles in Hollywood, but he's not going to be a Hollywood star. And I don't mind that. And I don't think he should mind that. He's not that type of actor. He's an actor's actor, not a famous actor.
I think I'd rather see him in the British dramas, to be honest, anyway.
Yeah.
And Irish dramas, because if he's Irish.
He's better off.
Yeah. I do think a lot of actors could benefit from staying over here.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah. It's just the money, isn't it? Because I get why they do it.
Yeah. But if you have any sense of the quality of your work, I think you tend to stay over here. Unless you got a really good role.
Yeah. That's also another reason why Hollywood just sort of looks to Britain. Because their actors They go to the right schools. There's like, well, the most famous drama schools, right? Like RADA and Lambda and stuff.
Yeah.
They're quite famous drama schools. I've heard they're really rigorous.
Yeah.
So they're well-trained actors. And then second of all, they're cheap compared to their American counterparts. Whereas, like, in America, it's always the story with, oh, yeah, I moved up to LA and then I got a part.
Yeah, that's
easy?
where you have to go to be successful, isn't it?
No, I moved up to LA. I took a few acting classes. And because I'm pretty, I got a role on this show. And then I got another role on this show. Whereas here, it seems like people work. Like, especially the theatre. They do, like,
That's the big test,
or something ridiculous shows. Yeah. People that act in theatre are amazing. Because, yeah, that old saying, what is it? If you want money, you do television. If you want fame, you do film. If you want to be good, you do theatre.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true if you consider, like, most people who go on EastEnders.
Actually, you know what, right? I wouldn't rag on soaps too much because I think the people that are on soaps, actors, say what you want about their actual acting ability. It shows good work ethic. Because could you imagine how much shit they have to do a day? How many scenes they have to film a day?
True.
They must have time off. They probably close down for Christmas, yet the soap operas never stop running. There's still like 4 shows a week, 4 half-hour shows a week.
The guy who plays Ian Beale, he must be fed off of it at some point, surely.
Well, no, I could understand why he'd just stay for the rest of his life, because he's been on the show since he was young. So obviously that was all he ever knew. But now he's come to a point that even if he left because he wanted to and he's bored and he wants to try new things, he's not going to get another job because he's too typecast. That's the problem with soap actors, because they're in people's houses. People know them as a certain character. It's harder for them to let go of that role. Like, how many soap actors do you hear about that actually go and make it insanely big? I mean, after that, they might do pantos. Some of them do really well in theatre in the end.
Particularly if you consider how many of those people you do, like, leave and then end up going back. And it becomes a nice but happy return for them.
So there's only a few of those soap actors, which I kind of get because there's so many soap actors, because there's a massive roster. There's only a few that actually go on to be more successful.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like I said, I can't really discount their work ethic, because I'm pretty sure they do work pretty damn hard to get that output out there.
I think that's a good point, but I don't know. You just must get fed up of doing that time and time after again, though. They're hardly, like, very inventive, these soaps.
This week in EastEnders, right, it started off with a gas explosion on Monday. And since the gas explosion, there has been a shooting, there has been a fire, and now a, like, oil tanker has hit an ambulance.
Right.
And it's only Thursday. I've still got today's episode left.
Bloody hell. What's going to happen to today's one, then?
I don't even know. I know someone's going to die. Don't know who. I mean, the options are, like, countless at this point.
When's Dot Cotton going to finally die? That's what I want to know. She's been smoking for years. Surely she's got to go at some point.
The thing is, like, she's getting on a bit, the woman that plays her. So I'm actually worried that she might die soon.
True. But some of them go on forever sometimes.
Anyway, enough about EastEnders. Have I convinced you to watch Game of Thrones yet?
You haven't convinced me to watch Games of Thrones.
What about Supernatural?
I can see how that could possibly be interesting. I think there'd be some interesting things in that. So I might be tempted to watch that one.
Okay, so this hour wasn't completely wasted.
No. But I wouldn't be too pleased with yourself if I was you.
I love how I've stated it's an hour when I regularly cut out 30 to 40 minutes of the episode. So this is probably only going to be like 10 minutes long. Yeah,
and it'd probably be... I don't like Games of Thrones. I don't like historical dramas.
You're a very negative person, Matt.
Yeah, I know.
You need to fix that.
Nah. I think you've got to be negative. In that way, you're not disappointed. See, like, the one thing I did like, Sherlock, turned out to be disappointing, didn't it? So
yeah, but that wasn't Stephen Moffat. Let's blame Moffat.
Yeah, Moffat. And what kind of surname is that as well?
Oh, and also The Night Manager. I really don't want that to get a season 2.
I can't see how they're meant to do a season 2.
I've read the fucking book. If they'd stuck to the book ending, they could have done a season 2. But they changed it just to give it a happy ending.
I hate that when they give things happy endings.
Exactly. If they were going to do a season 2, they should have left the original ending as it was. It was so stupid. I went through it because they'd cut loads of things out and I sort of got it, right? And then it got to the last episode and I'm just like, okay, so how are we going to get to the boat from here and all that stuff? And then it never happened. Everything's changed. And I was just like, did I read that book wrong? what happened? What just happened?
Yeah.
Like, why is everyone happy? Like, what's going on? This is not a Lucari adaptation if everyone's happy at the end.
Yeah. See, I think that's a difficult thing to do. Do you sometimes, like, read the book before you watch something?
Yeah, that's the problem.
Because then you know kind of what happens. Or if it doesn't happen the way you're expecting to, it can disappoint you sometimes as well.
I think you're always going to side with what you did first. So I read the book first, so I side with the book.
Yeah.
Whereas The Man in the High Castle, I watched the TV show first.
Yeah.
So now the book pales in comparison to the TV show.
Yeah.
So I think I'm probably biased. Maybe I'm not right. Maybe I'm biased. But it seems to be I side with whatever I do first. Like with Harry Potter, the books kick the movie's ass.
All day.
Yeah. But maybe that's just because I've read the books first.
I've got a feeling it'd be one of those things where I think the books always beat the films. I kind of think.
Maybe The Man in the High Castle, because, yeah, I understand that, because the books could flesh out characters and situations more. Whereas The Man in the High Castle book, it was sort of bare bones in my eyes. It felt bare bones. I mean, it set up the scenery and stuff, but it didn't do anything with it. That was my problem with it.
Yeah.
So maybe it was just that book. I think that's the only time I've gone from TV show / movie to book. It's usually the other way around, from book to movie.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other ones that I could reference. See, I don't like trying to like watch a film before I've read the book sometimes, because I think that ruins the book for me sometimes if I know what's going to happen.
It's the same the other way round.
Yeah, but I prefer like the book, because that's the original source as well. So I think it can ruin it reading a book if you know what happens.
Maybe books are better just because they're more fleshed out. I mean, whereas films have to do everything within like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours at most. Whereas the book could be well, I'm not saying I've read a book that's 1,000 pages long. I probably have, actually. I've got loads of books. But a book can be as long as the writer wants it to be. And could you imagine like a 900-page book or 1,000-page book, maybe? Maybe not 1,000. Let's say 800 to 900-page book being adapted into an hour and a half long movie.
Yeah.
The amount of stuff that's going to get cut and sacrificed.
That's what annoyed me about the 5th Harry Potter film. Because that was like the longest book, but yet as one of the films, it's actually shorter than some of the other ones, I think, if I remember right.
Yeah, it felt really short.
Yeah.
Whereas like the last book, they split it into 2 films. A lot of that book / film, it was just them hanging out by themselves.
Yeah.
That could have done with some cutting.
Yeah.
It just felt to me like they were just trying to use it as filler now. They just wanted it for a money grab. It didn't need to be 2 films. They could have just cut out all that middle shit where the 3 of them are just hanging out and crying about how Ron left them.
Yeah, but like also the 5th one, they cut out like some quite important bits of it, I felt.
Yeah.
Like, I can understand you need to cut bits out, but they included stuff you didn't need to include in there, I didn't think. Like, because they didn't include the bit where they see Neville's parents or something like that.
Yeah, they didn't include that. They really did cut out so much in the 5th Harry Potter film.
Yeah.
Because that Neville thing, that put context into his life, that made what happened more, heartfelt. He became a hero even though he's been birthed by parents that have been turned into this.
Yeah.
It was at the sacrifice of Neville's character. He did not have as much influence in the films as he did in the books.
Yeah, I felt that was a big omission. And then I'm pretty sure there's some other stuff they took out of that as well.
We didn't really see Bill Weasley, we just saw his wedding.
Yeah. But I mean, in general, the films are still quite decent.
Yeah, they're decent. I really do wish that whenever a book was being adapted, they just film the whole book. I mean, sure, you have to cut it all out for the feature film, but you've always got a DVD release.
Yeah.
Like, Peter Jackson, people might hate him because he keeps releasing, like, Lord of the Rings / Hobbit shit. But at least he, like, filmed all of it, and he keeps doing the extended cuts. At least we have the option to watch a full-fledged Harry Potter film that lasts 4 hours long. I mean, I get there's monetary constraints, but I don't give a shit. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's all I've got to say.
So I think it's time for us to say goodbye, and that this episode was, well, I wouldn't say a complete waste of time. I mean, you're not going to watch Game of Thrones, but you're open to Supernatural, which is something.
I'll try and watch it in the next 10, 20 years, if I can.
What, Supernatural?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll still be going, don't worry. It's starting season 13 soon.
And you still like it?
Yeah. I mean, no, I'm not going to lie. There have been some low moments. Like, season 6 and 7 were, like, really bad. But then they got rid of that executive, because the original executive producer left because his idea was he'd only do 5 seasons, and they wanted to extend it, and he was just like, fine, I'll do an ending where you can extend it, but I'm leaving. So he left, and then some woman took over, and I never really liked her anyway, as a producer. I mean, sure, she'd done some good episodes. She'd written a couple of good episodes, but as a producer, she was shit, and like the whole arc of season 6 was terrible, and they demoted Castiel to recurring status rather than regular, and that upset me.
No.
But then they brought back...
That
yeah,
is
exactly.
awful,
Then they
Tom.
brought back the... yeah, I know. Then they brought back the executive producers they had from season 1 to 3 to carry on from season 8. So that sort of... so it got better, and then the last season they had Mark Shepherd, who played Crowley, as a regular, and they had Mark Pellegrino back as Lucifer.
Ooh.
So yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just got a bit excited.
I can tell you're very happy
whenever I
about
see Lucifer pop up in Supernatural, I just like have heart palpitations. Like so happy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's good news for you, at least.
yeah. Anyway, I think we should say goodbye.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.